First, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who are teaching this truth with sincerity. And shout out to Yakim that's out in the four quarters of the earth proclaiming this truth, risking your lives to do so, as we know that they are cracking down on the internet. The deep state, Amalek, is desperate now because everything they try to do has been exposed. So they now have staged another event, this time using YouTube to do so. They staged another fake fucking shooting, to make you believe that YouTube caught it on video, and so they're going to try to clamp down on YouTube. As if we fucking didn't know that that's already fucking going, right? And all this is a distraction, the false flag fucking yesterday of the so-called shooting, which we know these fucking shootings are fucking fake as fucking fuck. But you can't say that it's fucking fake as fucking fuck. You can't title your videos another Sandy hoax or any shit like that, because those motherfuckers will flag your videos saying that you're a cyberbully, right? But this is all a distraction, because the deep state, Amalek, Israeli state, IS, is invaded Iran using F-35s. They have invaded Iran airspace and are in Iran. Now, why would they be in Iran? Well, of course, like everything else, because now that Turkey has turned towards the side of Russia and China, and the pipeline now runs through Iran, through Turkey, and Iraq and Syria, the deep state, Amalek, the Israeli state, has lost. They have lost at controlling the oil through Qatar and Saudi Arabia, so they didn't get their fucking pipeline. So that's why the buildup towards World War III. Now, pretty much the oil reserve currency, the petro, has been replaced by the yuan, the petrol yuan. And so, what's this mean? That means that America is no longer the oil tycoons, that pretty much Russia is now protecting those areas, and we know that they did partition Syria the way that they had wanted to, Bashar al-Assad controls the south, the terrorists are being protected in the YPG area, and then Turkey controls Afrin in the northern region. So they have managed to partition Syria the way that they had wanted to. But, pretty much they didn't get the pipeline in there like they had wanted to. So Israeli state, IS, which is the ones that never ever get told on, right? The same terrorists, because they're the terrorists. Israeli state is the terrorist, But they want you to believe that it's quote-unquote the Islamic State, right? Which we know is bullshit. ISIS is Israeli Secret Intelligence Services, is Mossad, and we know that they have their deal through Saudi Arabia and, pretty much have control of that area down there, That's why they took out Gaddafi, and they had pretty much put in, a.k.a. Muslim Brotherhood, which is really run by the Israelis. Because we know that Saudi Arabia sold them out a long time ago, sold out Palestine a long time ago, and made their deal. But now all that's coming to a head, as they no longer are controlling the oil. Iran had declared independence in 1959, and they've been trying to get Iran ever since. Actually, let me rewind that back. 1979, when the Ayatollah had... there was a coup d'etat back in the 50s, so the Israeli state, IS, had control of Iran up until 1979. When an Islamic revolution happened and Ayatollah Khomeini had gained control of that and had kicked all the terrorists out, and they were no longer a fucking puppet government. They want to try to get Iran back, so that's why the Israeli state has moved in the F-35s, right? And so we know that the so-called white man, Esau, who its head tribe is Amalek, is losing. They're losing the narrative, so they got to create distractions and all that. So that's why, the so-called YouTube shootings, so everybody's going to be talking about the shootings, which we've already proved, though, that the deep state had lost the March for Their Lies and all that bullshit, that pretty much it was all a distraction, because what's really happening, though, is that these countries have been able to bypass the petrodollar. And now the petrol yuan is actually in effect. So pretty much oil is going to be much harder to get over here. So you're going to see a lot more store closes. We already started out this year with the store closings, especially here in Reading with Sears and Kmart and Jade Garden all gone, you know, by the month of April, you know. And so, you know, you're going to have a lot more. Of course, Toys R Us is now gone completely, you know, pretty much their done deal. And, you know, oil and gas, you see the gas prices going up, of course, because, you know, Russia has the pipeline now, pretty much. They have the pipeline, and they're able to trade without the petrodollar, now using the Petro One system. You already know about the BRICS systems, that pretty much they've been able to trade without the United States, without Rothschild. And so, you know, that's the main reason for these wars. So, you know, that it starts out with the finances. That first, America will be destroyed financially, crippled, ain't going to have a penny in the name, so they have no choice but to go to war. Which we know that they're never going to pull out of Syria. They're never going to pull out of Iraq. They're not going to pull out of Libya. No. But they're going to, you know, pretty much what's going to happen, though, is that all these countries are aligning with Russia, including Turkey, has aligned with Russia to get the terrorists out. Because we know that America is the terrorist. We know that the Israeli state, Amalek, is the terrorist, and Amalek is who controls America, Babylon the Great. So we're going to read out Lamentation, chapter 5. Remember, O Lord, what is come upon us. Consider, and behold our reproach. Our inheritance is turned to strangers, our houses to aliens. You know, we were born over here in Babylon the Great. We were no longer in the promised land. In fact, you know, you got, we were never even told that we were Israelites. We are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows. We have drunken our water for money. Our wood is sold unto us. And that's just it. We can't just go plant a tree somewhere and start living off the land. No, man, we have to get permission from the so-called white man. Esau, Edom. Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest. Yeah, you're working dead-end fucking jobs, you know, but there's no rest, you know. You're never getting caught up on your bills. You're not making ends meet. You still owe money. You are a debt slave. That's what this is molded into. But also, you were brought here under slavery, you know. And if you weren't under slavery before, say you were part of the northern kingdom, you were enslaved by the so-called white man, Esau. Our fathers have sinned and are not, and we have borne their iniquities. And that's what happened to us. We have given the hand to the Egyptians and to Assyrians to be satisfied with bread, you know. And here we are in the final Assyrian Babylonian empire known as America, Babylon the Great. Servants have ruled over us. Yeah, because Esau's supposed to be serving us. The elder will serve the younger. But everything's the opposite right now. There is none that doth deliver us out of their hand. That's right, because when we went into slavery, there was no one to buy us back. No one to make a deal to get us back. We got our bread with the peril of our lives because of the sword, which Esau is that sword, because he has the weapons. Our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine. You know, they ravished the women in Zion and the maids in the cities of Judah. You know, and so, you know, that proves right here that the real Jews are black, because it just said so right here. Our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine. They had ravished the women in Zion and the maids in the city of Judah. Princes are hanged by their hand. The faces of elders were not honored. Yeah, and this is talking about when they took Jerusalem in 70 AD, and then we were eventually brought over here. They covered the faces and the judges thereof. They pretty much hid our identity. The joy of our heart is ceased. Our dance is turned into mourning. The crown is fallen from our head. Woe unto us that we have sinned. And so, you know, pretty much we were taken away from our heritage. We were never told we were Hebrew Israelites over here. For this, our heart is faint. For these things, our eyes are dim. And a lot of people don't want to come to this truth that we're the real Israelites. You know, you have blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, and the confusion of faith that be among them, you know, who are really not as they appear, you know, but are really an Israelite underneath that. You know, it's kind of like that movie Down to Earth. Remember Down to Earth, where, you know, Chris Rock, so-called black man, who was really an Israelite, was brought back because, you know, and he came back as what? As a so-called white man, right? But underneath was a Jake. Same thing happening now. That's what confusion of faces are. Because of the Mount of Zion, which is desolate, the foxes walk upon it. Thou, our Lord, remainest forever, thy throne from generation to generation. You know, because for how long did we not know who we were until this final end? Whereas thou forgot us forever, and forsake us so long time? Turn thou us unto thee, O Lord, and we shall be turned, renew our days as of old. But thou hast utterly rejected us, thou art wroth against us. So, you know, and what is the Most High going to do, you know? Unless you call upon the real name, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, he's not going to hear you. He does not partake in these solemn assemblies. He does not partake in these wicked festivities. If you're calling upon God or Jesus Christ, he doesn't hear those names. Or Yahusha, Yahweh, you know, he doesn't hear those names. You know, he's going to laugh at these calamities. You know, so like everything else, it's time to get right because, you know, the time for us to do this is coming to its end eventually, but we're going to come back hard right now. Right now, we're pushing as hard as we can because we know that the time is getting short, you know, not making excuses, you know. Esau screwing with our videos and all that, it's just the beginning of this. The beginning of sorrows is when we can no longer do this and you won't hear this. So take advantage of it while it's still here. So I hope this has been edifying, and shalom till the next time.